Hello, welcome to the Deep Focus Show, a podcast where we focus to a different director every time. I'm Taavi.
I'm Aidan.
I'm Clayton.
And this time we're looking at Greta Gerwig. I just want to know what's everyone's familiarity to her and maybe some opening thoughts maybe.
Greta Gerwig, I'm not really too familiar with her. I know she's gotten a lot of Academy buzz and she is an essential part of A24's catalog, supposedly. But I read that she is a pioneer of a genre called mumblecore, which is like a type of genre filmmaking that's very indie and focuses heavy on dialogue. It's associated with directors like Mark Duplass and his brother Jay. They don't really like to use that term though for some reason, which is understandable. It's kind of I wouldn't want to call my genre mumblecore. It just sounds like mumble rap to me. I don't know. What about you
It
guys?
sounds like a musical thing.
It does. It's
I
weird.
mean, I hadn't seen either of these movies. I don't know the catalog of the A24 very well. So, I mean, I knew who Greta Gerwig was, and I was kind of, aware, just kind of following buzz in the film world about these movies, but I hadn't seen them. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm coming from this.
Yeah, so this was my pick, and so I've seen both of these two films before, and I saw Little Women in the cinema with my mom when it came out. Maybe like, I don't know, was it 3 years ago about that time? And
Sounds like a wholesome movie to go see with your mother, and honestly, with the whole family.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, we're gonna rank these. So
We usually do bigger directors, but this past month we've
Yeah.
been doing much shorter directors because we've been building up to a bigger one. Which
So my second favorite Gerwig film is the newer one, Little Women, which I did have still a great time watching, and especially the first time in the cinema. And it's like this coming of age period drama or whatever, and there's been like many film adaptations of it, but I honestly haven't seen any of them before, so this is the only one I've seen, and yeah, it's a big novel, of course. We are following this like March sisters, which are like Joe, Meg, Amy, and Beth, during the 19th century, and where this film shines very much is the period aspect of it. I think all the set design and costumes are on point. Pretty much most of the acting work is damn great, honestly. Probably my favorites are Florence Pugh and Saoirse Ronan. This was hard for me to rate this film because, well, honestly, I think usually these period dramas are at least good, but they're never my like go-to films I want to like watch. I still do watch them from time to time, and I think this is still a quality, well-made film. Honestly, I don't really have much negative to say. Like, this is a 4-star film for me, so very good. Yeah, like, I can see the argument that some of these actors and actresses overshine some other performances, and yeah, I think like I honestly never been a huge Emma Watson fan. Maybe that I'm sorry if that offends someone, but Yeah, but she's good in this. Yeah, obviously, but
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
agree. Definitely, as strong as some of the supporting characters are, I feel like, even though they're big names, they really don't do much. There's obviously clear front runners to that movie, but I'll get to it.
Mm,
And I know
yeah,
exactly what you mean. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
your number two.
Yeah, that's my number two. Little Women gets 4 stars for me, mostly for the acting and the. I think it's a really well made film. There's not a little really defined faults to this film, but I guess it's more of a thing. Like it's not the film I'm going to rewatch much, but yeah, it's a really lovely film with your family or to watch.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say my number two of these films is I'm gonna agree with Taavi. It's gonna be Little Women. And I think the main reason is, I think it's a well-made film. I definitely think so, but in terms of story and kind of it feels very much indebted to the source material, to the book. Like it's very much the film adaptation of Little Women. I guess for me, when it comes to adaptations, I like the ones that are very different from the source material, I would say, because they feel like kind of their own beast. And this does have, differences I was kind of reading about. I think it's still a very like well-made film. I kind of like the presentation. Everything flows very kind of well. I think the actors are mostly good, with two main exceptions. I don't think Emma Watson is good in this movie. I don't think she's like a very good actress, honestly. And then also Timothy Chalamet just annoys the fuck out of me.
Oh, come
Um,
on!
I just find him annoying
I
and like
love him.
he's so emo. Like I don't buy him
Oh,
as like a 19th century American aristocrat. Like he just seems like a fucking 2017 fuckboy. Like I don't get it, you know.
oh
I mean, I just
no.
don't see it. I don't see the character. I just see him. And I think even when he's been in good movies like Dune, it's been in really good stuff. Yeah, I still don't think he contributes very much. But overall, the movie's still good. Saoirse Ronan, I think, is kind of amazing in this, as well as Florence Pugh and Laura Dern's good in it too. So it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. I'm gonna give it like a middling 3.5. There's
Mm.
there's definitely problems with it. I don't know if I'll go back to it as a movie to watch that much, but it's certainly a very kind of worthy film. And the parts of it that aren't like great kind of have more to do with just me and my personal opinions as opposed to being, faults of the movie itself. So just to keep it fair, 3.5 out of 5.
I disagree with both of
Mm.
you. So I'm really glad I went last because you guys are both wrong. I need Tom here,
Okay.
our prior guest, to back me up on this. My number two is Lady Bird. I think the screenplay is really good. Aidan, you were saying that the other movie is an adapted screenplay, which I think is great, but the writing here is more natural. The dialogue is more fresh and real as opposed to being an adaptation. I do agree with that. But I kind of like this movie. I mainly like the two leads dynamic here. The way I'm able to empathize with both the characters of Lady Bird and Marion McPherson, her mother. It's impeccable, really, and it's set in a time period that I'm really nostalgic for. I wasn't really a teenager in the early 2000s, but I did grow up in that time. I was a younger child, and it's easy to understand where the dynamic between herself, Lady Bird, and her mother are, and the systems of generations that divide us. I love the lead actress here, but personally, I feel like Laurie McCoff is the obvious standout here. She just does so great as the mother here. Saoirse Ronan, she's incredible too, but I didn't really connect with her struggles as much in this movie. There are two standout scenes in this movie that I think I really like, and I think one of them kind of employs the whole meaning of this film as a whole. There's a scene where Lady Bird is talking to Sister Sarah Joan, played by Lois Smith, who is a great character actress. Basically, they're talking about she's writing an essay, and Sister Sarah Jones basically says, "Yeah, I can tell you really love Sacramento." And Lady Bird's just like, "Well, I just really described Sacramento," and she said, "Yeah, that's it. Your attention to detail equals love," and I think that's the theme of this whole film is that love centers from attention. It kind of plays into the mother daughter dynamic. They fight about each other all the time, but they fight about the other person. So, ergo, they're paying attention to each other. So, therefore, they love each other. You know what I mean? And I think it's sweet. I don't think much is explored in locations and set design, that you wouldn't really see in an average high school drama. But I do like how certain locations, like the houses, buildings, and the streets, are all in the forefront. Further driving home Lady Bird's attention to Sacramento, or in other words, her love for Sacramento. I think this movie's good. I don't think it's like completely standout or anything great. It's definitely not top tier A24. And yeah, there are non-horror A24 movies that I do love, but this ain't it. And it's a better film than an average film, so I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, that's my number two.
Okay, cool. So my number one is obviously Lady Bird from 2017, and yeah, it's also this like of a coming of age film, and this is just so much fun to watch it and so enjoyable. And so this is about the Lady Bird, who's the lead character, played by Saoirse Ronan. It's this girl's journey trying to get to college and dealing with the teenage years and her all sort of family traumas she encounters. And I think the acting is really on point here. I think the Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf are the obvious standouts here. But yeah, also really like the short performance by Lucas Hedges. I don't know how to say his last name really, but basically I found it to be really really funny, and I think her mother especially had some really funny roasts to her daughter, and it just made me laugh quite a bit throughout the film. And um, I think one of the finest moments acting wise was the scene where Daniel, played by the um, Lucas Hedges, is talking to the ladybird about him coming out following their breakup, and I found it to be such a powerful scene, and the way Saoirse Ronan's character reacts to that scene was such a powerful moment to me. It was a subtle moment really, but very very powerful still. I can't be 100% sure, but this film feels very real to me. I could, like, obviously I don't live in the US or anything, but I can kind of see all these things happening to them, and just an awesome screenplay all around. I think it was nominated that year for the Oscars, but don't know who took it that year. But I really really enjoyed Lady Bird, and I was struggling with the rating because I was like I don't think it's a 5 out of 5 film, but I guess if I gave 4 stars to Little Women, I'm going with a 4.5 to this. Like I kind of think Little Women is a better, well-made film for the visuals and stuff, but this is just maybe more of a personal thing, what I would prefer to watch with my time and so on.
I do want to mention real quick, there was another standout scene that I left out in my conversation. That was basically the car scene, the iconic one where she jumps out of the vehicle. Yeah, that's another
Yeah,
top-notch performance from both characters.
yeah, true.
So my number one, it's going to be the same as Taavi. It's going to be Lady Bird, and I think as a film, I really like it. The performances are really strong. Kind of the direction, the way it's all presented is good. I think it's similarly. This is kind of interesting because even though I like this film more than Little Women, I feel like it has like a bigger like kind of like structural problem with it that movie doesn't have, which is that I don't think it's long enough really. And I was doing some reading behind the film, and apparently there's an early draft of the screenplay that's like 6 hours long, and that's probably excessive, but I feel like the film is trying to detail like an entire year of school and also like some of college, and I just feel like it does not have enough of a runtime to really show that. And
Mm.
I think that's caused kind of by a lot of things. It almost feels like it was a script that was much longer, which I guess it was. And
Perhaps it would be better as a miniseries, you think?
well, I don't know. I think, maybe just as a very, very long movie, because like it feels like they took the best scenes out of that longer screenplay as opposed to really reworked the material as something shorter. To kind of give an example of what I mean, the scene where the kind of mother character just misses her daughter at the airport, it's like I feel like after that scene there should have been like 40 minutes of stuff happening at college. I feel like they should have made it build up for the ending so that there would be more of a catharsis for the audience. Like I just think
Yeah.
it kind of gives it to you too quick. Yeah, I think it should kind of drag you along so that way when the ending finally comes and it wraps up, that it feels like so much more satisfying as the audience. That's kind of my issue with it. I still think it's a good movie. I'm kind of teetering on a 3.5 or a 4. I think for now I'm just give it like a low 4. But I might ditch it a little bit and just have it on the same level as Little Women. But I get that obviously, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's very well done. That's kind of a problem I have with it, which, it feels like the kind of greatest hit of a screenplay as opposed to like something more cohesive, I guess. That's kind of my opinion.
I think you made a great point with which I didn't really think about honestly watching it. Like now when I think, do we need the scene of like Saoirse Ronan being in his college and like I don't know. I'm starting to think this through more now, I guess.
So let me talk you out of the 4.5, man. Sorry.
No problem. I just thought it was an interesting point made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's my thoughts. So Clay could go now about Little Women, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sticking with a 4.5 for this next one. I have Little Women at 4.5. Yeah, you're gonna have to forgive me here because I really don't know much about the novel itself or any other adaptations of this novel. I know, Aidan, you were saying you don't really care for or you think the adaptation of this novel relates quite closely to the book, but in my research, it seems a little bit different. Just especially in terms of Greta Gerwig's direction. She kind of focuses more less on the romance stuff and more on the like the independence. I do like this movie quite a bit. It got nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actress for Ronan, Best Supporting Actress for Florence Pugh, and she's going to get an award one day. I really hope so. But until then, it got Best Adapted Screenplay and Original Score, but it won for Best Costumes, which I think is deservedly so. I think these costumes are gorgeous. This adaptation presents the novel in a more non-linear fashion, so that's a little bit different than the original source material. I like that aspect. I love the shots in this film too. I think with the non-linear fashion being told, it opens the door for more creative cinematography. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was pretty clear whenever there was a flashback, but it wasn't like too showy at the same time. Because you know how some flashbacks in other movies you can tell that it's a flashback, but no, it's just like little subtle things like the color texture and everything. I like that. There's these scenes of people running and the dancing scenes. So it's kind of a modern fairy tale in a sense. And it sort of has an indie flair. Like you can tell that Greta Gerwig isn't going away from her mumblecore roots, so to speak. But she's adapting it into a much grander story and vision. And it's a standard story that you'd expect from any genre like this, a period piece. There's romance and, women striving for their independence. But like I said, the movie mainly focuses on the independence aspect. I'm a sucker for period pieces, so that's pretty much why I like this a lot. This movie did not get nominated for Best Director for Gerwig, but Lady Bird did. I don't understand that, and I don't agree with it. It's ridiculous. It got 6 nominations, but not Best Director. Come on now. The way you have a story that may seem boring, but Gerwig's vision, she brings an element of excitement to this, with her cuts and everything. I think this is a much better film. I'm a sucker for period pieces. They are my weakness, and I'm going 4.5. It's not the best period piece in the world, but for a modern period piece movie, I like it a lot, and I can see its acclaim. I don't know why anyone would put Lady Bird above this. It's a better film. It's a masterful film. I don't understand. Okay, whatever.
I just gotta say the 2019 Best Director ones nominees are quite loaded. I think. But
They
Yeah.
are. I don't remember it, but I think
2019 was a loaded year across the board,
like,
I would say.
what did the director of Joker get Best Director? I don't understand that. Like, come on.
yeah,
Did he?
maybe
I
you
actually
can.
didn't know that.
He probably did. I didn't
Yeah,
look
he
at
did.
it, but oh, come
And
on.
Scorsese and Tarantino. 1917, Sam Mendes and Parasite director.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Parasite, I want to say, won Best Director? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well
don't know. The
deserved.
Oscars, I think it makes a little more sense because I think to me, originality matters a lot. And I feel like the more something is clearly someone's like original vision, the more I connect with that. And even though there's a lot of differences from the
Mm.
book of Little Women, it's still fundamentally like an adaptation, I don't know. The adaptations I tend to be like, it's more like they use the book just as like an inspiration as opposed to being like a straightforward cinematic
Mm.
version, I guess. Even though there are pretty significant like
Mm.
differences to the way the story is told.
I think there are two
Mm.
good adaptations of source material that can be into film. I think it's a period piece or a musical. Those are the two types of film that you have to have for an adaptation. Otherwise, it's gonna, you know.
I think that's a little extreme.
Mm.
So Greta Gerwig has a new movie coming out called Barbie. I think it's called
Mm.
Barbie. I don't know. It's about
Yeah.
Barbie. I haven't. The synopsis looks pretty strange. Actually, let me just look it
I
up.
don't even know.
Have you guys seen the footage or like the pictures for it? It's so
Yeah.
colorful.
No,
I
I
saw
haven't.
the pictures, like the promotional shots.
Oh, Margot Robbie is in the lead. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it looks really exciting. It kind of reminds me of the this old movie. Well, it's not really old. It's like 2008, but the Disney film called Enchanted, I think. Yeah, I think it's Enchanted. Basically, like they go from the cartoon world to the real world, and I think that's
Oh,
kind of what the synopsis of this film is about. They go from like Barbie world to like the real
um,
world, and Will Ferrell plays like a CEO or something. I don't know. It looks interesting. But no, it's
yeah,
A24. It's going to be adult oriented, and it looks a lot of fun. Very colorful.
yeah, yeah. I just noticed about the Barbie that it's the screenplay is by Gerwig and his husband Baumbach, who did the Marriage Story film.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I'm probably looking forward to that as well. I'll probably just check it out, kind of see what I think. But yeah, so
Yeah.
anything else y'all want to go over?
No.
I
Yeah.
can't say this was the most exciting watch consecutively. They're both great films, but if you watch them both in a row, there's not a lot of there's a lot of differences between the two films, but not a lot of connective tissue. And I feel like with the director, at least for the first 5 or 6 films, I would prefer if they have some sort of ultimate theme going on. I know Ari Aster's really good at that, so I don't know.
Both of them had Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet. Is that enough?
Timothy Chalamet is
I
always
mean,
enough, my
they
dear.
had in the sense they did have a character shared because they had Timothy Chalamet in both, and he can't act, so they just had the real guy in both. So that's a
I think
connection.
oh,
Oh dear.
he does fine in both films. It's not his best performance, I'll give it that. But
Yeah, definitely.
except Little Women, I liked him in that movie a lot more.
I did
He
too,
was a little bit
actually.
annoying in Lady Bird. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that leaves us with the big kahuna next week. You know what I mean?
that's going to be Martin Scorsese, and we have a lot of catching up
Yeah.
to do. That's all
A
I can
lot
say.
of work. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you
Okay.
guys for
See you then.
listening.
Yeah, please send the ratings and your thoughts in the comments. We are really
Yeah, drop
looking
your
forward.
takes.
Yeah.
Help us in the algorithm,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. See
Well,
you
yeah.
guys. Thanks for watching or listening,
Bye-bye,
whatever
guys.
you do.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.